Mohammed Hijab just posted a video encouraging his followers to file hate speech complaints against us on Patreon. Quick recap. Back in June, Mohammed Hijab absolutely obliterated the standard narrative of the Quran. He destroyed the myth of perfect preservation. He tried to delete the embarrassing footage, but people had already downloaded it. Ever since then, he's been trying to divert attention away from his epic blunders. His brilliant strategy for distracting Muslims from the history of the Quran has been to get into an insult battle with pretty much everyone. Hijab started sending the apostate prophet messages telling him that he should commit suicide. Then Hijab showed up in the chat while we were doing a live stream and began posting disgusting comments telling us to engage in perverted sexual practices. When that didn't work, Hijab launched a campaign against the wives of critics of Islam. He posted pictures of our wives, along with extremely nasty and graphic comments. His tweets about women are filled with imagery of rape and torture. Not surprising from someone with an abusive personality who follows an abusive prophet. I warned Hijab that if he didn't take down those tweets, we would implement Surah 6, verse 108 of the Quran. Surah 6, verse 108 says that if a Muslim is insulting the unbelievers, and the unbelievers tell him that they're going to insult his religion in return, he has to stop insulting the unbelievers. So I warned Hijab that if he didn't take down the tweets insulting and abusing women, we would start desecrating the Quran. All he had to do was take down some tweets and we were done. But Hijab is a very arrogant man, possibly the most arrogant man you'll ever encounter. He had to choose between his pride and his religion, and he chose his pride. He refused to take down the tweets, which were causing people to desecrate the Quran. So I decided to keep enforcing Surah 6, verse 108 until he obeys his book. How has Hijab retaliated? Well, if you were to make a list of all of the different ways not to get a psychopath to do what you want, things that are guaranteed to never work on someone with antisocial personality disorder, Hijab has basically gone down the list. He's thrown insults at me. He's challenged me to fight him. He's tried to get other Christians to condemn me. His partner Ali Dawa has prayed for me and the apostate prophet to get diseases. And now Hijab is turning to his followers to help him deal with us.
So how you guys doing? This is going to be a very short video, and it's about the desecration of the Quran by the Islamophobe David Wood and his accomplice, the uneducated accomplice in intellectual crime. What we need to do is both of those individuals are working primarily only to try and target Islam and the Muslim community from time to time as well. These guys are Islamophobes, and obviously they desecrated the Quran last week.
Hey Hijab, why didn't you mention why the Quran is being desecrated? Why didn't you mention that it's because you've been threatening and abusing women, and that the desecration of the Quran is simply a tactic laid down in the Quran itself for controlling your terrible and abusive behavior? Why didn't you mention that the only reason the desecration continues is that you're too arrogant to remove your tweets, which are filled with imagery of rape and torture? Why didn't you mention that you're the cause of all of this, just as you were the cause of so many Muslims learning about the corruption of the Quran? As for your latest plan, I'm so confident that it won't stop me, I'll go ahead and share your little call to action.
Well, the call to action here is very straightforward. We're going to go to Patreon, okay? We're going to go to Patreon, we're going to make an account, and then when we make an account, we're going to mass report, both of their channels. Now you can do that because there's a tab that allows you to do that. There's a tab that you go into their David Wood's account and Apus's account, as you can see on the screen, and then you put on report for something that happened outside of Patreon. You're going to mention how offended you feel as a Muslim community or whatever, with the timestamp, which is also on the screen now, as you can see, of the video. of them eating the Quran.
That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you keep a psychopath from eating your book. You get him kicked off Patreon. This plan brought to you by the brilliant mind that came up with the now famous golden showers tactic and the threaten your wives with sexual assault maneuver. Let me break this down for you, Hijab. There are exactly 2 things you can do to get me to stop desecrating your book. 1, you can saw my head off. 2, you can take down your tweets and apologize to the women you've insulted, abused, and threatened. Notice, in previous videos, I said that all you had to do was take down the tweets. That ship has sailed. Now you have to not only take down the tweets insulting and abusing women and following the example of your revolting prophet, you also have to apologize. Now, as you know, Hijab, both of the options I've given you are consistent with Islam. You can saw my head off for criticizing Islam because your prophet ordered his followers to execute critics of Islam. Or you can take down your tweets and apologize because Surah 6, verse 108, orders you not to be the cause of insults and abuse against your religion. Either one of these options will stop me. Do you know what will never stop me? Anything you're currently doing. You are the worst person in the world at understanding different personality types and what works with different personality types. You started a campaign of abuse against women, and it took me all of 6 seconds to completely derail your campaign and send you into a tailspin. Why? Because I understand what to do with an arrogant man. Pit his arrogance against something he loves and prove to everyone that he loves himself more. Then, as everyone starts to realize that he loves himself more, as everyone starts to realize the truth about this selfish, arrogant man, as everyone starts to see his true colors, this hurts his pride. That's when you can sit back and watch as his internal conflict becomes an external conflict. So, what do you do now, Hijab? Do you back down and apologize? Too much damage to your fragile ego. Do you continue attacking me, knowing that I'll keep coming after your book? Your followers understand that you could stop the desecration of the Quran whenever you want, and yet you don't. How much do you really care about the Quran when you won't protect it from people like me? Again, it took me 6 seconds to put you in this position, and you still have no clue who you're dealing with. Everyone, take a look at how Hijab thinks we might respond.
Now, what's the backlash that might take place? They might try and attack me and take out my Patreon, but believe me, I'm not making, I'm making peanuts on that. So if they try and take that out, I've got nothing to lose.
Hijab, do I look like the sort of person who would go crying to Patreon to try to get you kicked off the platform? Patreon, I can't figure out how to stop Mohammed Hijab. He's such a tactical genius. Can you ban him to rescue me? Does that sound like the dizzle? Since you can't figure this out, Hijab, I'll spell it out for you. When you get nasty with me, when you pull a dirty stunt with me, when you lie to me, when you break an agreement with me, when you try to get me kicked off a platform, I go after your prophet. I go after your book. You're sitting there trying to stop me from going after your prophet and your book by doing something that is 100% guaranteed to get me to escalate my output against your prophet and your book. How stupid can you possibly be? Muslims, please send this man some money.
And if you want to go on my Patreon and fund the activities, then the link will also be in the description box.
So, Hijab's latest plan is to get us kicked off Patreon. And you can see in the comments section of his video that his fans have been mass flagging us since he posted the video. Will this get us kicked off Patreon? Hard to tell. People have been kicked off for less. But banning people usually hasn't worked out very well for Patreon, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. If all else fails, I have a subscribed star account. Now, there is something all of you can do that would be absolutely hilarious. I don't actually need any increase in funds to continue what I'm doing. I have more than enough support coming in. I'm fully funded, and I'm able to support a lot of other channels. I'm able to help people get equipment and so on. I usually only ask for additional support when something comes up. A few of us are on the verge of finally putting together a studio and hiring some tech guys to run it, and launching multiple new channels, so we may be expanding very soon. But as for now, I'm getting significantly more financial support than I need for myself and my family, which is part of the reason we're planning to expand. However, nothing is more hilarious than when someone tries to get a creator demonetized and people end up supporting the creator even more. The crybabies who got Steven Crowder demonetized from YouTube absolutely lost it when an insane number of people started supporting him on Mug Club. Now YouTube has remonetized Crowder's channel, so what was the outcome of all the complaints? The people who attacked Crowder and got him demonetized ultimately helped him expand and hire more people and put out more content. That can't feel very good to the demonetization squad. The links to my Patreon page and the Apostate Prophet's Patreon page are in the description box. As of this recording, the Apostate Prophet has 454 patrons. Nothing would be more hilarious to me than seeing Hijab's mass flagging demonetization tantrum get AP a bunch of new supporters. I think that would make an awesome video. So if you've been thinking about supporting us on Patreon, now would be a really, really funny time to do it. Just keep in mind that it's almost the end of the month, so if you sign up on my channel now, you would be billed for this month and then again at the beginning of next month. Just be aware of that in case you don't want to get billed back to back. As for you, Mohammed Hijab, in accordance with Surah 6, verse 108 of the Quran, I order you to take down every tweet that so much as mentions anyone's wife. I order you to apologize to any wife you've mentioned. Take down your tweets and apologize, and I won't go through with my plans for your book. This is the best deal you're going to get from me. The demands will only increase, and the desecrations will only increase. Like it or not, I'm going to teach you a lesson about respecting women. A lesson you obviously didn't learn from your religion.